Hello and a warm Collisions YYC. Welcome to my guest this morning, Ms. Cherie Bowker. How are you doing, Cherie?
I'm doing well, Tyler. How are you doing?
I am fabulous. Thank you for coming on. I don't even remember how we met. I don't know why that always feels the need. Calgary connects, and I do love the small town that is Western Canada, Southern Alberta, certainly Calgary. I've been aware of the School for Advanced Digital Technology since its inception. I had Jim Gibson was my first guest on the show, so always a huge proponent of everything that SAIT does. But you're relatively new in the role, and you and I are meeting technically for the first time on air. But you're the dean for the School for Advanced Digital Technology. So I will plead ignorance with all that statements I just said. What is it all about? Who are you? What do you do? What's the School for Advanced Digital Technology? Let's let everybody in the tent, and then we'll unfold from there.
Okay, awesome. Well, I think that's how we met, is that you kind of knew Jim. So I'm grateful to be on this. I'm grateful to talk about this role and what we're doing here in the school. I've now just passed 7 months. I think when we first spoke, I was brand new, just feeling
3
like
or 4. I had a big circle around 4, so 7 months in. Congrats.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So I'm starting to feel like I belong, or like I hope everyone else feels that way, whatever.
Well, we'll talk to them after the show as a follow-up, just to be sure. But that's your story checks out so far.
That's right. It's funny kind of. Yeah. So I'm very, very grateful still to be here. I've been in post-secondary forever, literally half my life. So 26 years in post-secondary. Of course, starting as a teacher and kind of working my way up. But my background is design, architectural design. I taught that for many years. I kind of got into the tech space, building sort of digital twins and getting into VR and walkthroughs and spaces and doing animations and things like that. So, but I'm very passionate about education, and we are in a place where education is changing very quickly, and technology is changing very quickly. So we're all about the most advanced tech. Some of our biggest programs are software development, IT, cybersecurity is a huge one right now. I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. We're in data analytics. We're also in media and media tech, as well as UX and graphic design and things like that. So we're kind of this mishmash of a bunch of programs where technology is involved. And then a big part of our school is to integrate into all of the other schools. What do they need? What is the technology that they need? And so that's who we are. I do plan to grow, I'm hoping, still in this landscape that we're in, but it's an exciting position.
Is growth even an option? Just to be kind of smart ass about it,
right? Yeah.
Isn't it kind of grow or die? Not to be dramatic or say something aggressive, but isn't it just become like, it's like you ask the fish, one fish says to the other fish, "Oh man, isn't the water cold today?" And the other fish goes, "Water." It feels like the world we're in right now, doesn't it? Where it's just changing so fast, it becomes the world we swim in.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, how do we balance our budget? I think people actually forget in post-secondary that we just don't have money trees, and we actually have to figure out a way to create a business model that sustains in a way. So I'm working on
with such rapid change.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So it's been interesting, but super fun every day. Still thinking of new ways to start new programs. We are starting our first Bachelor of Technology in the fall. I'm super excited about that. 2 majors, one is cyber, and one is software development. So we filled up within like 3 weeks. But we're going to have winter intakes and spring intakes, and we're going to keep going with that. So that's who we are.
I'm curious just a little bit of your story, and we're not going to camp out too long, but coming from the world of architecture, did you see the writing on the wall with the emergence of technology and was like, I'm going to take what is maybe a traditional career, and I'm paraphrasing, I'm using my own words here, because so many people have been on this journey over the last 10 years where I'm in this career, but wow, if I don't get really, because what isn't tech, and just to say tech, it's not an industry, it's not a sector, it's everywhere. Those careers that were architecture that have been around and stood the test of time, pun intended, went, whoa, wait a second, I've got to embrace technology in my own sphere or my own space. I'm assuming that was a journey you went through at some point, that you probably run into people constantly going through it, whether they like it or not.
It's interesting because I'm in my 50s, and I'll say some of the folks I went to school with just didn't keep up. They were still drafting. They didn't understand how to 3D model and so forth. Pardon me, Tyler. So when I moved to Lethbridge, I came for a program with my 2 kids and a van full of things in 2015. Okay. And I started it was kind of the first day of school. There were 7 students. I was like, oh my goodness, 7 students. I'd come from Sheridan College, where there was just hundreds of students, right? And so I'm like, we need to...
Did you have a what did I do? What have I done moment?
Yeah. Like,
it's like a plot. It's like the plot from the start of a movie.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Like, I'm gone. I have to go home in a year, and this is not going to last. So again, I was in a position, we're going to need to grow and evolve and figure this out. And so one of the first things I did is bring in virtual reality into the interior design program in Lethbridge. Everyone was like, what are you doing? But I'm like, game engine technology is so set up for showing spaces, like it's realistic, immersive view of it. So we were in Maclean's magazine for 3 years. We doubled our numbers every year until we grew out of that program, and we built 2 more and built a school. So it was fascinating. People started coming in just to take a class to figure out how to 3D model a space,
Very cool.
change finishes in real time. So that's how it all kind of began in 2015. And really, my son, who was just like grade 7 at the time, in his Christmas list said he wanted an Oculus headset. I don't think it was Oculus. What was it called? Oculus.
That was
The first
Oculus.
one.
Yeah,
It
because
was not
Oculus.
Quest
Yeah,
yet.
no, it wasn't. I can't remember what the first one
Oculus
was.
Rift. He said he wanted an Oculus Rift. And
Yeah.
I was like, sounds good. Looked it up. It was $1,200, but it got me thinking about what that could do for us. So he didn't get one, but I did.
Business expense, sure.
Yeah,
Business
that's
expense.
right. That's right. So that's, yeah. So I just kind of felt we just built programs on tech after that, and it kind of led me to this position. So
Which I do appreciate. You say that so in passing. And in 2015, it was like, what are you doing? What are you talking about? That wasn't that long. 10 years. It's easy
10
math. It wasn't
years.
that long ago, but yet the speed of which we go, well, of course you're going to use that for that now.
Yeah, yeah.
That wasn't always quite as easily embraced back then, to your point about drafting to the Oculus.
100%. Well, so now we're in a different landscape, because here's the thing. I can just put a space into AI and say, what could this look like in this style? So how do
Yeah.
how do I keep up with that? I mean, honestly, I'm trying to get my head around that right now. We're right in that moment. We do have one AI program, but I think we need AI majors. I think we need to understand the languages, kind of get diving into AI languages more. So we teach it, but how is that going to impact industry? What happens to building custom spaces and emerging tech in the VR and AR space now because of AI? I don't know.
Because it can happen so
It's
quick and so seamless.
yeah,
And the barrier,
yeah.
we went through kind of low code, no code to boom AI, where you can just, I was fooling around with it the other day, and it's literally said, hey, do you want me to design a logo for your little GPT that you built? I was like, yeah, sure. Use these considerations. And it wasn't amazing, but the fact it could do it at all was amazing.
That
Like,
is
just call
amazing.
a spade, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's crazy, and every day it impresses me more. I write songs now. Like, I have a bit of a music background as well, so I'll put in, these are the words I kind of want. Help me write it. Then I'll go into another sort of AI app and go, make this better, make it more emotional. Then I'll throw into a music AI app, write a song for me that sounds country, female vocals, and then you can edit from there. So you have a starting point. So it just changes creativity. It changes the process.
It crosses the blank sheet of paper so much faster than me staring at it.
Yeah.
Because once you're at the other side of the blank sheet of paper, I can manipulate. And so many of us, the vision of a blank sheet of paper is very daunting. But I'm like, you give me some blocks to move around. All of a sudden I'm empowered, I'm engaged. It's a whole different experience for creation.
Oh yeah. It's literally, I feel like I have a person that sits beside me all day long saying, no, that's not good. Try that. Or, yeah. So I have a personal assistant.
Mine, I find, tell me too many of my ideas are good. I'm like, wait a second, that was not a good idea. Like, to be honest, okay, maybe now. And I'm like, where did I need to program out to, you're amazing. You're the smartest person ever. I'm like, no, this is dangerous. Do not tell me that over and over again all day long. It's
know
like,
the
it's like
best
a
thing?
posse of yes people all around you at all times.
Oh yeah. Oh,
You have
I
to
know.
you have to be, how do you then, looking at building a curriculum, building a way forward, and sitting down in front of students with the confidence of say, yes, if you sign up this program, you'll have a higher chance of being here in a couple of years, even though none of us, respectfully, my crystal ball doesn't work that well. Maybe yours works a little bit better, but to a certain extent, how much does that back to just how fast education is being impacted by all these things?
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. So I feel like we have to be in the ocean. Like if you're kind of in the ocean of what's trending, if you will. I hate to say that word because it's much more than that. But cyber is massive. So cybersecurity is gigantic. Get into that in some way.
Yeah.
That is an important career for a few years. So we're building a cyber range in downtown Calgary right now that's going to be state of the art, fully immersive. Walk into the space and suddenly screens light up everywhere saying that you're under attack. Like you're going to feel the emotions of what this feels like to be in a cyber attack. So you have to fight it and
it's
combat
literally
it.
I'm going to be nerdy a little bit. It's the Kobayashi Maru exercise on Star Trek where you get put into the simulator and then they put you under attack and you see what happens. Sorry, I'm not a
Yes.
big Trekkie, but anyone who is will be like, oh yeah, this is the
That's what it
scenario.
is.
Like, can you
Okay.
survive a no-win? What do you do in a no-win scenario?
Right.
But it's
yeah, and
a true real-world simulation, which is incredible.
absolutely. So I just got back from
That
Toronto.
sounds so
looking-
cool. I'm not.
Oh
That
my
sounds so
gosh.
cool. It blows my
Come
mind.
visit us. Like I will
I'm
do
going to.
a
I love it. I love it.
personal tour. Yeah. So it's really cool too because we have kind of a combating room and a protection room and red room and blue room, and then, that lights up if the other team is winning. So it kind of gamifies it. But there's other ways to train executives in there to help them understand, you can kind of have this scenario where like, this is the scenario. What do we do? So there's kind of think tank rooms and whatever. So that's happening. So cyber is an ocean that you might want to be in. Another one is data, and it's all connected, right? So data security, data analytics, understanding data for your business. And so we have a few data programs and business intelligence programs. And then, of course, AI. I don't even know what to say about that one, except that I'm doing a ton of research. And it's funny, I'm doing a lot of my research on AI, telling me what to do with AI for the future. What do you think?
It's a vicious circle. I know, it's a vicious circle.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate categories like cyber. We know it's not going anywhere, but we know it's going to constantly evolve. Data and all the different layers of it, from data security to analytics to what you do with it, how you manage it, how to capture it. But then AI... it's like saying, oh, the tech sector. Well, no, tech is in every sector, where AI is in everything that you just said. It's almost eating its own tail, consistently going around in circles. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I don't talk about too much, but I mean, I do to my internal people, is on the media tech side. So we're really building out media. We're kind of looking at what we have right now and then adding that technology and component. So this year, literally building out a media technology fundamental certificate that ladders into radio or television or film. What will that look like? We're in the process of building it. And what will the studios look like that involve digital, green screening or like virtual production or live events? This is a key too, because media is certainly not going anywhere, but what does that look like in this landscape?
And is it both production and distribution? Are you looking at both sides? Because you say green screens, but you're also like, how does it then, and the channels that we have today will be different a year from now, because that's just the speed of things, right?
100%. So every aspect of it, we just want to stay ahead of it. And it's tough in post-secondary to do that, right? Because you need money and you need partners. And so I'm always like, listen, if you want to partner with us. We're going somewhere. We want to change the world together. So call me, right?
I love it. How do you as an organization, like, obviously it doesn't rest solely on your shoulders, and I'm getting the sense that your shoulders are broad and they can handle a lot when it comes to, but where do you go out into the industry? Who do you tap into? Because I'm assuming there's also a huge degree of how do you stay connected to what the industry is looking for? Because your output or your product, not to trivialize that these are humans, you need to give them the opportunities that they want to have, and then the businesses that need them or the movements that need them want you to do it. So it's an interesting relationship where you guys are kind of in the middle.
100%, yeah. Well, we're a very, very interesting school because we started because of a man named David Bissett, who gave us a $30 million philanthropic donation to start the school, and is very passionate about that. So we have a good relationship.
That was in 2022. That wasn't speaking of not that long ago.
That was very, very recent. And then this thing called COVID happened, and so it was kind of disrupted in that way.
It did.
So we're still kind of building this. So he's very excited about our downtown building. He really believes in a downtown presence. And I tell you this because that's really the start of him wanting. He doesn't want his name on anything. He wants other businesses and donors to come alongside us as well. And so he has helped to connect us with so many other people that are saying, we want to be a part of this. How can we do that? Would you like to name our range? Would you like to help us build curriculum? Is there an industry that you need specifically for us to focus on right now? And a lot of it's in data, honestly. And you want to help us along with that. So it's having these conversations. We just don't know what we don't know until we talk. And so that was a big reason why I was out in Toronto last week, having conversations with a variety of folks that I won't name right now.
Okay, well, let's speak broadly, but let's speak the truth. Conversations to Toronto with folks, or conversations in Calgary with folks. How do those conversations differ?
Oh, that's interesting. Well, they're all connected.
Or do they? I implied that they did. That was a very leading question the way I asked it.
We're talking with companies that have a presence in both locations for sure, or across Canada, and have varying locations for sure. So the conversations in Toronto were just timely, and then we are connecting now with the Calgary folks to actually do a tour of our downtown campus and so forth. So it tends to be connected. But it certainly is. What was interesting in being out there, I was there to see the range, the TMU range. There is a cyber range at TMU that I was there to connect on. And that was so informative. And again, I'm like, let's do this together. Like, how can, your range and your institution, or I was like, how do we actually talk about this? And so I think we're better together. So those are the types of conversations that are happening. But, in that
we're too small to be divided.
Right?
Yeah.
We should figure out how to kind of, go across the country and do this together. So But in that other, have you met this person? Have you met that person? And then they're like,
Mhm.
let's connect you with people in Calgary. So just kind of was exponentially. I was very busy. Let's say that.
That's good. Well, I'm always curious to hear, and I love the idea of a downtown. And I've heard, I've been many people in the show talk about, innovation happens three floors and below, like at the street level.
Yeah.
And Calgary, we're a little bit spread out, but we're changing. We're changing. I
Hmm.
think more stuff. If you look at the energy sector, it was built on the plus 15. Any self-respecting energy salesperson just hangs out, and that's their proving ground. That's their hunting ground.
Yeah.
But when you see tech starting to come in with platform, and you guys being downtown, and I think I'm seeing there's similarities. Like we're
Yeah.
same but different.
Yeah, for sure.
And so for yourself, who's showing up at the door? Like I was online this morning, I was looking at open education. I was trying to be a potential student. Is it everybody and anybody? Like give me a
Oh
profile. Is it
gosh.
age? Is it career stage and phase? Is it mindset? What's the persona of your average? Is student the right word? Participant?
Yeah, students could. This is such, oh my gosh, what a great timely question. I'll give you like a little bit of a long story around this, but
Please.
we support has changed for post-secondary. So international, we've had a large group of international students that we've been working with that we've had in the last few years. That's changing. But the domestic student is changing. So that is a great question. 10 years ago, I think in our school, specifically before it became the School of Advanced Digital Technology, we had something called a fast track program where upskilling industry would come. That has changed because of LinkedIn Learning and other sorts of ways to learn things, YouTube, all sorts of things. So that is the question. We have a continuing education department that also has a client for upskilling and so forth. So I think we're we do get high school grads, but we get a lot of 20 to 25-year-olds coming
Okay.
in. Sometimes it's a degree grad that wants now practical education in something. So they've already taken a degree, which to get into many jobs these days, you do need a degree in something. But then they're like, I also need practical training. So I feel like right now we really want to hit that 20 to 25-year-old that wants to learn a skill. And what I'm trying to figure out is how to stack skills with our government. I think we need some updating there. I don't want to say too much about that, but I do feel motivated to work with government.
I feel there's some juicy bits buried in there. We'll
I
park
do,
those for
yeah.
later. We'll park those
Let's
parking lot item.
update that too, right? Like, let's figure out ways to approve stackable credentials that turn into a degree.
It's
Like, isn't
almost
that
like we've
better?
outgrown the old model of everything, isn't it, Cherie? Isn't it
Yeah.
just to call a
Right?
spade a spade?
Oh my
I
gosh.
said it, not you. Like we need
Okay,
to. Yeah.
thank you.
Anyways,
Thank you for your support.
I'm always very optimistic, but I also like to have honest conversations of where are we getting in our own way, and I feel that's the
Yeah.
territory we're kind of in right in this conversation. There are some things
Yeah.
that are holding us back.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's traditional thinking, and it's
Yeah.
just kind of like, I have a degree, but what do you have it in? Like, what do you know how to do? And I think that the world is moving so quickly, we need to get skills quickly. So I'm working on
Hmm.
something that does not have a name right now. Okay, so it's open. My faculty have given it a name. Government is like, it can't really be called this, or it can't really. I wanted to call it Master Track, but then it sounds like a master's program. It's more like skills-based learning, 1 semester certificates, 7 courses that you gain a skill in industry and tech. So connected to
Okay,
industry,
I
but in
like that.
technology, right? And it's 2 week blocks. So you do a course, not 7 at a time. You do 1 course at a time, 2 week blocks all day, like a corporate environment. So I'm building out a data analytics program, like certificates, AI. Like, why can't we stack those into a diploma or a degree? Right now, we can't. You can have common curriculum and say that that
I
also
see. I
works
see.
for
I
the
see.
diploma or that, but you're kind of going to government every time, and by the time it gets approved, it's like a year and a half, right? And then it might be over. Like maybe that curriculum doesn't work anymore. So we need to move quickly. We need to pivot. We need to listen to industry, and we need to figure out a way to do things quickly. And it's tough, but
This is really
that is
taking
my
on that
mission.
continuum of learning model, the
Yeah.
lifetime learner. You're never
Yeah.
done. I've got my degree, so now before I go work in the quote unquote real world, and then I do that skill
Yeah.
versus no, I'm always coming back. Do organizations get hung up? Like I appreciate government and like classifications and categorizations and those types of things, because that's where funding exists and that's where people can point to, look, we did X amount of these or X amount of those and showed that we had good use of our initiatives. But if I'm in an organization, I'm in a small to medium sized business. So we look at the individual. If it's not a degree, but if you add up the sum of their parts and it's the right role, there's no reason not to like that, do an audition, hang out with that person, see how you work together. It's the two-sided approach.
Yeah.
Is industry more open to that versus, I know you said government as maybe being a little bit more resistant or more convened in their ways, but what about industry? They're like, we don't care. If you got the skills, we need the horsepower. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So we have PAC meetings, Program Advisory Council meetings, a couple times a year, and we had some in the fall, and they're very formalized and wonderful. But we have our industry show up, and it was a little. There are some that still feel they want degrees, but honestly, the majority is like we're like, give us the skills, because we can see high school kids now. Like I've got a friend, their son is stumping his teacher when it comes to coding languages and those languages that the instructor doesn't even know. We have kids coming in now that know more than the teachers do on a variety of
access to
things.
information is so democratized,
right? Yes.
into that territory.
Yeah.
But things are changing in the expectation of when hustle became uncool, and all of a sudden it's cool in a different way again. I don't know. And discretionary effort, we all value that as organizations. My team, forget about owner shareholders, those people on the team that make your life better and you all work together to get shit done together. Those are that's a difference maker right there. It is.
Yeah. So yeah, right. For 10 years, we're like work-life balance. I'm like, I don't know. Here's the thing. Of course, right? Of course you have to have a life.
Everything within reason, Cherie.
Yeah. Like I'm a Gen X and we're probably more, I don't know. I'm a bit of a workaholic and I just love working, but isn't there something
I have no idea
that?
I have no idea what you're talking about. I grew up on a farm in southern Quebec, and my dad was like, 40 hours? I did 40 hours by Wednesday. What are you talking about? Like, yeah, so I grew up very much in I would say the extreme polar that other way. Somewhere in the middle is space.
Well, okay, for sure. And it's not a popular thing to say, but here's the thing. If I love working, or if I find a way to love working and make it fun in some way, then I might be able to do circles around somebody that's ending their day at 4. Like, what can I actually get done in a week or two and feel invigorated? And I don't know, like there is a balance for sure, but I don't think it's this other side either. Like, I think there's something in there that you have to go, if someone says, hey, listen, there's a special project, who wants it? I'd be like, I do, because then there's opportunity in that. And that's how you kind of get ahead. So, I don't know. Maybe it's just some of those skills to say, what are you willing to do to be successful in 5 years, more than just thinking about it? Like, you really do have to action it. I'm sorry, like that was a bit of a dig on manifestation, but
no, no, just think, it's something I've been exploring. I'm a big fan of curiosity. It's something that fuels me. And I came across Gilbert, who wrote Eat, Pray, Love, and she says, stop with the passion and just start being curious about things in life, because that will fuel you. Because if you're lucky enough to run into your passion, but you know how you're going to find your passion? By being curious. And I was like, I really liked how she presented that, because you're right, that new opportunity, if I'm curious about how I might solve it or what skill I need, that creates its own energy. And there is the fuel. So like, the grind. It's not a grind anymore. It's I looked up and 6 hours have gone by because I was so engaged in figuring out said thing. And via, there's so many little rabbit holes now. You're not just putting numbers into a spreadsheet or bolts in a hole anymore. That's changed as well. Because you're right. After 8 hours of putting a bolt in a hole, the classic assembly line metaphor, I would want to leave too. But that's not a thing anymore. The robot's going to put the bolt in the hole. You have to program the robot.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and it takes some hard work, some hard mental work, and making some sacrifices. Like, what's wrong with that? Like, it's okay. Like, I've literally heard people say, I can't do that because I don't really do well in the morning. I'm like, what is happening? Like, that's the job. Like, you have to be here. So anyways, not to be too tough. I'm actually but you know what I mean? Like, just that's the job. Let's do it.
And
so
do you work that into your courses? Is that something that is part of because I came here to learn data. I came here to learn analytics and data management or media and tech. But this little work ethic thing, or is it just baked into the way you guys do your programs or do your capstones or all the things that make up my education journey?
Yeah, I mean, we do. We're pretty flexible too, and I get that. Like, I think it's a matter of we know you did that work. You don't have to come to every class. Like, that's fine. I kind of am against penalizing students for every single sneeze they have or whatever. Like, I don't like that world either. And hybrid models are wonderful, but work hard. The end.
Clear milestones, clear accountabilities, and clear deliverables. I find, and again, we're a full remote culture, and we moved there during COVID, and we never went back. But our world being we're a full service marketing agency, there's a lot of deadlines. So accountability is baked into every day. And we're a small team, so 30, 40 people. If a couple people don't do the thing, everybody sees it. So we don't have to have you sitting in your seat looking at us, because we know, because you're part of the meeting, or you contributed, or you added a piece to the puzzle. And I think a lot of organizations relied on bums and seats to counterbalance the fact that they didn't have clear accountabilities and clear outcomes. But that's
Yeah.
it's my own soapbox. Since we're getting on soapboxes, it feels like right now.
We ask you, Tyler. Yeah, no, it's
Yeah,
so, it's so
but
true.
how, and I'm assuming building your program is the same way. Like, hey, that's however you got it done, but you got it done and you were clear on what there was to be done.
Well, and okay, so that's a great example. So for me in my career, if I don't move quickly, the other guy will get that program. I won't get it. And so I do want to move quickly. And it means I have to work a little harder sometimes. It doesn't mean I have to work 12 hours a day, but I do have to be efficient. I'm not like taking breaks. So anyways,
There's sprints too where you do.
yeah,
And then there's
that's
sprints where you
right.
don't.
And
Right?
then you're okay, right?
It's called a sprint because you can't keep it up for 12 hours, for 12
Yes.
for 12 months, I should say.
Yeah.
But a month-long sprint, or do you get some, is there pushback in the world of academia? Because the mindset you're sharing with me, I love. And I've had a lot of people from academia on, and they've shared that maybe that's the challenge, that it didn't always move that way. So therefore there was some resistance as well.
There's resistance in my institution. I have not found that. I'm telling you, I'm not just saying this because I'm there. I work for an incredible.
That's
SAIT,
amazing.
SAIT is incredible. Like, and the deans that I
I've
work
had a
with
lot of
are
people on from your organization, and I continue to have you all on because I love what you're all about.
okay. And honestly, I could be, I secretly want every other dean to be my best friend. They're so amazing that I go, oh my gosh, it's Dean's Council or whatever. Like, I'm so excited to go. Like, I really feel that way. We really support each other. I could almost cry right now talking about that. They're so amazing. I don't feel like there's pushback in that way because we want to be innovative. And our VP, academic Janet, also amazing, hilarious and great and fun. So when you just have a good boss, you've got good leadership. Our president, also amazing and funny and great. So just great to be around. So that's a great environment to feel
Speaking
creative.
of how easy it is to work hard when you have a great team around you.
Right?
Like, you're kind of living it.
Absolutely. And I want to be that kind of dean where my faculty show up and they're like, we just want to come. So we're seeing some of that. We're seeing more and more people show up and want to be a part of it. Like it's better.
Is your specific area, obviously, are you drinking your own Kool-Aid, eating your own dog food, whatever metaphor you want to use? Because obviously there's a lot of programs and there's a lot of diversity in the programs that you offer. You're out on the bleeding edge of technology. How well are you integrating that into your own business practices? Like, SAIT needs SAIT kind of thing. We all need what you offer in your specific area.
I think if I'm understanding your question correctly, I think we need to do more of it. So, okay. So let me give you an example of what I think you're asking. But so our film students do excellent productions, but they're building kind of capstone projects. Well, I would like to use their scenarios and what they could build for a cyber range video scenarios.
That's exactly what I was asking. So
okay.
Thank you. Yeah, 100% what I was asking.
Okay, perfect. And then we also want to do some AR. So I would love to walk into our building and have our UX students design an AR experience where we might have a picture of our donor, a picture of our president. And I don't know if you've ever seen the wine, like the wine you can buy that you put your phone over and then it tells you the story.
Prisoner.
Okay, yeah. So that sort of thing. Like, why aren't we? I want our spaces.
I love that stuff
living.
so much.
I know. Because then we're looking like who we are, right? I don't want to look too corporate. I want to look creative and fun, and I want to look like we can build it too.
Well,
so
if I'm going to sign up my time, my energy, my money, and my future to work with you, I kind of want to know that you're doing the thing, that you're walking the walk with me, right?
Right? It's like going to get your
Call me
hair
old-fashioned.
No, yeah, exactly.
Credibility goes a long way for me.
Yeah. No, if I go get my hair done, and somebody has really bad dry, like I don't want them to do my. So do you know what I'm saying? I do.
I know exactly what you're saying.
Or the house of a realtor, or the car of a. Anyways, so you just want to kind of look at those things and just
my realtor friends, my wife and I was joking. They always have all their lights on because it makes their house look beautiful at night. And I'm like, realtor must live there because they get it. They get it.
Absolutely. So we want to kind of walk the talk and all of that for sure. And we have some work to do because we're just like 200 people together and getting the right people teaching the classes that are up on the technology as much as possible, and then connecting with industry. Some of the industry I connected with in Toronto are just dynamic, charismatic people. They're like, I'll come speak at your class, even if it's virtually. I'm like, that would be amazing. So it's having the time to make those
I really appreciate that.
and,
That's great.
Yeah,
I love that.
It's good.
And people that are really bought in are, like you said, rising tides. We all want everyone else to do better because it actually elevates the whole space. And if we think 100%. About the output, which is a group of individuals looking to have impact on the society, we can all contribute to that from a learning and a supportive. And then having the jobs. Do you find that for individuals that go through your programs, are the jobs available? Is there willingness to bring them in? I kind of asked it before, but just blatantly, are these people getting employed in the way that they want?
Yeah, the jobs are there.
Okay.
Sometimes the skills in that, like for the people that don't get jobs, they are maybe more the ones that are demanding and don't have those soft skills that we need to figure out a way for those students that are missing those things to help them with those things and help them to understand it doesn't get handed to you. You have to then work for the job. And these are the skills you need to get the job. So I'm figuring out ways to work with students that way. The ones that are willing to fight for those jobs are getting, and I don't mean that there's only a certain number to go around either.
Okay.
The other thing to keep in mind is that you don't need to stay in this small radius to get a job. Like go out there. Like there's nothing wrong with even leaving Calgary. Like go to Edmonton if there's a job in Edmonton. And if there's willingness, I think, for people to even consider moving, like there's a lot of opportunity in Canada. I think you just have to get out of this small radius and consider maybe thinking outside of the box a little bit. There's even remote jobs.
Well, our hiring has become so much easier since we went remote. Our pool is now anywhere in Canada, and it's fantastic. I know SAIT. If someone applies to my organization and I see SAIT, I'm going to immediately go, I have brand recognition. I have trust. I like this organization. I know people there. I've worked with people from there before. I've hired people there before. If I take that to another market like a Toronto or a Montreal, or we'll pick somewhere that maybe SAIT isn't top of mind, does that get a little bit stickier when there isn't maybe the name recognition of like a McGill or U of C or something that just has been around in a different way? And then does it fall back to, well, what credentials do you have? Like, I'm just trying to understand that as a marketer. How does that story, once you go beyond a well-known brand in Alberta to maybe a lesser known brand in other places?
Yeah, I love that question so much because I think about it so often. I would like us to be Canada-wide recognition. I just simply would. No post-secondary. For the most part, post-secondary institutions don't do that. They kind of stick within there. Like, this is our zone or whatever, and I get that, right? And then the jobs stay there too, and so forth. And I get that. But, here's what I'm thinking about doing. Possibly our software development diploma, which is a 2+2 into our degree. So that's a great pathway into our degree. It's possible we could move that into a fully online opportunity. So if we have a fully online way with a community with synchronous online classes, which I had a lot of success with in Lethbridge, that's how I think you spread a little and you start to, and then you, the first day, like, so when I was in Lethbridge, we did this for our design program and our architectural animation program. And the first time I had somebody from Ontario fly to Alberta to take our interior design program when they had some of the best schools in Ontario, I felt like I had arrived in some way in our program, right? We had 100 students that year coming in, which is incredible, from 7. So that's where I think we need to kind of think about ways to do that reach. So otherwise, yeah. And then it's word of mouth. This is the best program, social media. We run social media competitions. We partner with industry and have great scholarships and prizes and things like that. I think these things really work for students, and then they share it with their community that's out in Ontario. So, and then it spreads.
Well, the high mobility of an individual, and then the geographical kind of isolation of a certain organization, they kind of don't jive.
Yeah.
just to be blunt.
Right.
Hearing what you say, like, I'm mobile, I can go anywhere, but yet, we're going to educate people here and keep jobs here. Well, that's fine if there is, but I might come back, I'm going to move around. I think that's also part of the being young and being on the journey of kind of figuring it out. Go to other places, try other things, eat some other food, eat some street food somewhere, do something fun, take some risk.
Yeah. Here's the other thing. I had conversations with, I went and visited many post-secondary institutions in Ontario while I was there. Of course, I went to Fanshawe, George Brown, Conestoga, a variety, which I was at for a while. So I'm like, should we do things together? Like possibly we do an international bundle together, a year there, a year with us. How do we come together and market it that way? It could be with this, whatever's the master track programs will be called, and they have postgraduate certificates. So maybe we come in together and go, we're the institutions you should go to. Like, who wants to play with me in that sandbox? And let's market to the world that way. And I think we're afraid of doing those things sometimes because we're competitive, but I don't know. Like, that would be a great experience if I was an international
and abundance
student.
thinking they're very polarizing thoughts. Okay, let's parachute ourselves into Eastern Europe. Let's go to Southeast Asia. Let's go to because we look at each other as individuals, but sometimes they just look at us as Canada. So I think there's a real dangerous divide, right? Where we're talking Edmonton versus Calgary, and they're like, "What's in Alberta?" Like we're like, or what's in Canada? Like it's the wrong conversation. It's the wrong conversation. How is Canada looked at from and I'm going to speak broadly because I doubt they're having the isolationist conversations we're having of us versus them. I'm going to go to Canada to school and I'm going to land. So is that looked at? Do we have a positive reputation globally? And I might be asking a question way outside your purview, but please share your point of view.
Yeah. we've done some damage to some of our international markets, some pretty bad. Canada has. We haven't,
Okay.
and I haven't, and you haven't, Tyler. So Canada has done
Thank you for
some
saying a lot
damage.
without saying it.
Yeah.
That was well. That was very, very. Sherry's going to politics after this call. That was very well done. Okay, please tell us more. Tell me more.
Yeah, it's a little bit like what's happening in the States. I'm doing this, no, I'm not. I'm doing this, no, I'm not. And so the markets were like, I
I
don't
just got
trust them.
exhausted. You might even bring it up.
Oh my gosh. So there. I think it's been a lack of like of trust on will they get their postgraduate work permits and things like that. So certain markets I think have been damaged, for sure. We're working on that. I would like to go myself and talk to these students myself and talk about Canada. You hit the nail on the head. I literally think we need to talk about the beauty and the wonder of Canada. But I do think we've done damage because we've said if you take this program, you'll get a job. And no, just kidding. That's not eligible anymore. So we can't do those. We have to be strategic as a country.
It sounds
As a
so
coun-
obvious when you say it out loud.
right? Yeah. So
Do
I think
what
there's
you
some
say.
repair.
Do what
Yeah,
you say.
follow through.
Yeah.
Yeah, and be very strategic about that. So I hope that changes. I'm very hopeful that that will change. And maybe too, we need to be like it was all in, all out, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But we need
Yeah.
to be a little
Yeah.
more sustainable and slow, strategic, mindful, have reasonable growth, like not so, it was just a lot all at once. I'll say that. That's all I'll say.
Yes.
Plus all the other
And
things I
the
said.
wrong things get politicized for the wrong reasons,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
things change, and then it's a broad sweeping. But yet there's humans that get kind of knocked over in the process, right?
Yeah. So I think there's lots we can do. I think we're a wonderful place to live. Like Canada is incredible, right? But
Agreed.
this political landscape does kind of affect us. So here's the thing. Let me put a positive spin on this. I don't mind adversity. This is where innovation comes. You're like looking at your numbers and you're like, oh my goodness. Well, we're sort of that's an unknown, surprising little thing right now that we have to deal with. So what do we do, and how do we pivot, and how do we hit the domestic market in a just visit high schools again, talk to students again, make education great. I almost said something.
Be careful what you just said there, Sherry. I was like, are you going to say what I think? I almost repeated it back and I stopped myself.
Mega. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't. Yeah, no. Yeah, no. So no, but I think we do need to figure out ways to say like our domestic market went down in the last. So let's come back to what do we want to do here? How do we want to train here? How do we move quickly? How do we prepare you for the market? And what does that look like? Simple as that. So this is a time to innovate and not be sad.
Yes, and back on your heel. Nothing creates innovation like you have no choice.
Like a good trauma.
Yeah. Don't waste a good
Yeah.
disaster.
Yeah, that's right.
Cost wise, this is also just nuts and bolts question, but pleading my ignorance a little bit. Is it expensive to take these courses? Is it accessible? Is there a barrier there from a financial perspective?
Yeah, super good question. The programs vary based on what's offered. Newer programs have a higher tuition rate per credit, so it's kind of on that sort of basis.
Okay.
But
everything costs more.
yeah,
Yes, I
so
know.
for sure. What we're trying to do is give more for the money, if you will, more experiences, more industry, more job connections, more like there's travel opportunities. It certainly is affordable, and there certainly is help. So there are grants and loans available, and it's certainly a fraction of what university costs still. So because I care about university too. I don't, like what will happen with them. So I don't want to diss on universities, but we are a practical applied education. You can get degrees with us, and we're very hands-on, and we're a fraction of the price of universities.
And the practical apply. Is there also a trend and a rise in the practical applied approach? Because you certainly hear about it more, right from the trades being like, hey, we still need people to build things, folks. Like things aren't building themselves quite yet. To going, oh no, if you don't go to university, like there was very much a hierarchy kind of created around education. I feel that's less now. Maybe that's just my own conversations that I'm having.
I certainly hope it is. I mean, I was raised like you're this kind of, because even in high school, they set you up. You're a university. Well, they did for me.
They do. Yes,
right?
They do.
You're a university.
You and I are
you're
similar
college.
age range, so we went
Are
through a
we?
similar
Okay.
system. Yes, we are.
Okay.
Not to get into that, but I think we're pretty close. So I think we probably went to the same type of classes and the same type of curriculums.
And parents have, yeah. So it's not kids, it's now still the parents have that mentality,
Yes.
I think, right? So we have to break parents of that because they're like, oh no, my child wants to go to college, or it's silly. The applied is everything. And when we get university grads coming into our programs going, I just need to learn how to practically do this work. I don't need the theory of film. I need to know how to make a film, and I need to actually make films and documentaries and things like that. So that's what we teach, so that students have those skills and they know how to get out into industry and use the skills. And so it's key. It's very important. Yeah.
Reminds me of an old joke, and it's a terrible joke, but it was a blue collar joke in a blue collar town that I grew up in. It was like, college student comes back from university student comes back with a degree, gets a job at the factory, gets handed a broom. He says, don't you know I have a university degree? Okay, wait, let me show you how to do it. And that's an old joke. It's a terrible joke, but I remember it growing up as a kid because I grew up in a town where that was the type of humor, because it was a class based. Like you said, it just gets woven into society.
Yeah.
I think most of the times those kind of things should get just blown up because they're no longer serving, but they tend to stick around.
Yeah, no, it's true. Yeah. So I would love to, yeah, break away from that. I mean, so I started in university, right? And then I ended up going to a college, like ours, a polytechnic. I don't know if that existed back then. It was before such a thing as email. So I think back, I was like, what was my email address when I was at University of Waterloo? I'm like, oh yeah, that didn't exist yet. So anyways, and I
all
went,
the free time you had when you were having to check all your devices.
Yeah, forget social media, right? But no, I went and we were all from university. Like in my class, we were that 22-year-old age group wanting to learn a skill and do it well, and it led me in a great place. So I've had a great career. But
Well, it's architecture of very white collar, but also in a world that builds things. There's an
yeah,
output to your thinking. Like
yeah,
cyber, like data, there's an output. There's something that gets to happen because you did X and Y and Z.
right.
And because if you understand the theory of it, it's great. But what are you going to do when the rubber hits the road on
How
a
do you
Tuesday at 10
draft?
o'clock and you actually have to do something?
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
I'm excited for that. So I really love where things are going. So when's the new building opening? It's not open yet?
It's open. It opened January 6th.
Okay.
So I'll tell you, yeah.
Oh my God, I'm out of date. I'm behind.
You were already behind. Yeah, so we have our so here's the deal.
Isn't that the truth, Cherie?
Every day I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's hard to even take a week off and you're like, what has happened in the world since I've been gone? How long have I been asleep? So yeah, no, we have our ISS students in there, information system security students, and they're that's a diploma program that leads into our Bachelor of Technology. They have classes. Third semester students and fourth semester students are downtown. There's a lot of meeting rooms, breakout spaces,
Nice.
banquet seats to visit. You're right connected to, I guess, some like the mall, plus 15. So you have a lot of, it's a beautiful area of downtown, and it's the range that's not open yet. So the cyber range on the main floor will be kind of a soft.
You're right by the Taste Market. Yeah, of course.
We're
I'm just
right
reminding
there.
myself. Yeah, that's a great spot. There's some cool
Awesome.
meeting rooms upstairs. I've done a lot of things in that building. I'm just refreshing the corner of 4th and 7th.
Yep. Yeah. So it's
You're
great.
you're
yeah.
right in the action. You're in it. You're in it. And you're right off
Oh.
C train too. It's super easy.
Yeah. I'd actually like to get a condo right there, just walk to work. Imagine the life. It'd be amazing.
Well,
But yeah.
hey, we started in ways we're looking more like Toronto than we used to. You know what I mean? In that way, where you can live, work. I grew up in Montreal and I moved to Alberta. I remember it was a Friday night. I got here in the middle of January. I went downtown. I literally saw a tumbleweed. I'm like, what is going on here? Because Montreal, it's winter, middle, summer. Downtown is super busy. Toronto's busy. Calgary, we're changing, but it's slow compared to, not that those cities are the end all and be all, but they have a very vibrant downtown culture. Calgary, medium. It's getting better. Back to being able to just want to live in a condo right downtown. That's a relatively new phenomenon here.
Is it?
I think.
Oh, interesting.
I think.
Because even living in Lethbridge, I'm still very new to Calgary, so I'm kind of learning and. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, the idea to live and then work and then do those cars that you just put your credit card in, you don't own a car, I'm kind of obsessed in my spirit with that, but I don't know if I'll get there. But
That's some big city thinking you got there, Cherie.
No.
We are a big city. That's no disparaging. It's just the differences I noticed spending a lot of time in those other two cities and moving here and being like, it's after 5 on a Friday. Where all the people? I don't understand what's happening here.
Oh, wow.
It's less like that now. That was 20 years ago.
Okay. Yeah.
That was an old guy start. 20 years ago when I came here. No, sorry. Yeah. Anyways,
It was
it's not like
horses
that
and
anymore.
buggies.
You can just dismiss that part of the podcast.
Yeah, no, it's a great location actually. So when the range opens up, like what I'd also like to get in there is these certificates, the data analytics and the AI. So it's called IAI, Integrated AI certificate post diploma. So I'd like to have those in there in that corporate environment as well and do the training of those programs in there. It's because it's pretty up. It's beautiful.
Well, and let's be honest, you're doing some really cool things. And if you want to attract people to come in to see what you're all about, make it shiny, make it cool. The
Yeah.
war room, the red team, blue team, like, I don't know why war and metaphors always seem to work in business, but they do. And people, that gets people in and gets people really curious of what you're doing. And also sometimes I love when I hear about something that kind of at first feels like it might be somewhere else. And you're like, that's here. I love when you get those little like, oh, and that's happening in Calgary. That's awesome. To your point, oh, that happens in Toronto, maybe Montreal, maybe Vancouver. But no, happens here right in our downtown. I love those stories. That makes me very excited.
Really exciting. And it was so good to see the one in Toronto. And then I know about the one in Ottawa. I know, and I got to hear about that. We're going to be kind of like all of things, like super hot, super interesting with media. I want to have a really good sort of underpinning and platform and things. Sorry, I'm getting emails as I chat and they're dinging in my ear. Sorry.
Back to the point. You can't even take an hour off. The world keeps happening. Yeah.
That's right.
You're here, but the world's still happening over there. Yeah.
Ding, ding. Yeah, no, it's extremely exciting. So like, honestly, I put it out there into the world that I just want to let people see it, come visit us. It's a beautiful space. We're excited about it. What could it be? How could you work with us? And see what comes of it.
Okay, let's say I'm listening and I want to come down. I'm either a student or I'm in the corporate world and I'm really interested in the output of what you're educating. Do I just show up? Do I call? Do I call you on your cell and set up an appointment? What do I do?
You can absolutely come. So it has hours where that building is open. There's security at the front. Come have something at the Taste Market to eat for lunch, and then come see what we're doing in the space. But certainly you could email me, or I do have an operations manager. Her name is Sharon Lee, and we always have
I'm assuming
there.
We could find out, but I'd like to be very very blatant about it.
Yeah.
No excuse not to go check it out. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. No, it's a great space, and we'd love to meet with you there and kind of show you around and talk about what we're doing. So just onward and upward, growing, increasing our quality, getting up to speed all the time, like staying ahead of industry. It's what we do every day.
I love this story so much. And more importantly, I really like meeting you. I love your energy. I love your thinking. I think I already know you're doing great things with the program and the energy that you have and the passion for it. And your get out of bed in the morning, I think, is ragingly obvious. So very cool. So kudos to you. And thanks for coming on. It was really nice to meet you. And I'm even more excited about this than I was before.
Oh, Tyler, that's great. Well, same to you. This has been great. I appreciate it. I did forget that I was on a podcast, and I thought
that's why reminders are a lovely thing, and we got it. We made it happen. You're on vacation. I don't know if you call moving moving out of a house a vacation. That sounds like a torture
sentence.
It's the
worst one ever. But listen, I kind of like it.
But you're in Calgary now, and I love what you did in Lethbridge, and I love that story. And now that you're here, and the impact you're going to be able to have on our city, we are the sum of our parts, and that's why I love the show, because I get to meet all these little individuals. But when you ladder it all up, we're a different city than we were 5 years ago, 1 year ago, and we're going to be a different city 2 to 5 years from now on that same trajectory. I'm very optimistic about it. Mm-hmm.
Like me too. Well, this has been great. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. It was really nice meeting you.
You too.